Hello everyone. Good afternoon. I can see people are starting to join us. Let's just wait a few moments until we have everyone here, and then we're gonna start, okay? Good afternoon to everyone that is joining us today. I'm Patrick. I can see here a lot of clients, friends joining us for the masterclass. So let's just wait a few more moments until we have that everyone that registered can join us, and we're gonna start. Okay. Good afternoon to everyone that is joining us. It's 5 p.m. now. It's the starting date of the webinar. I just see that every second we have more people joining. So let's just wait a few more moments and we're going to start. Okay. Thank you for everyone that took the time to be here with us. In a few moments, hello, Ron. I see Ron is sending hi. So let's just wait a few more minutes and we're going to start. Hi, Ronnie. How are you doing, my friend? So first of all, we want to say we know that this is a very hard moment. We have a lot of clients in Israel, Dubai, and many of you are here joining us. So first of all, we appreciate that you guys took the time to be here, even though the situation is not the best. We hope that soon peace will be achieved and we can be over this difficult time. Okay, like we said to many of you already, if there is anything we can do from here to help you go through this difficult time, please don't hesitate to contact us. Okay, and we hope that soon it will be over and we can celebrate. Actually, we were planning to go to Tel Aviv again soon, and we're gonna go. We have a very special wedding there, and I'm sure that by until then things will be better. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Patrick. I'm Klave CEO, and we're gonna start now the masterclass about the Portugal fiscal revolution. So basically, we're gonna elaborate here about the recent changes in the Portuguese laws, especially when it comes to taxes. Okay, so there are a lot of new changes to attract investors from all over the world, and we're gonna explain here the context and why the government is doing what they're doing, and hopefully we can explain to you everything that is happening so you can understand the next steps and how to prepare for these changes. We want you guys to participate as always, okay? So if you have any questions, if you want to talk to us, please write it in the chat and we're going to be happy to reply to all the questions at the end. So I can see that most of the people are joining now. So, okay, I think we can start. And again, if you want to participate, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to send in the chat. The agenda today is, first of all, we're gonna explain why investors, like many of you here, are aiming at Portugal. What is happening with the country in the last few years that is making investment here so attractive. Then we're going to explain the fiscal revolution announced recently by the government. Third, we're going to talk about the infrastructure expansion financed mainly by the European Union. Fourth, the favorable credit environment that we are having today in Portugal. And at last, the macroeconomic and growth in the next few years. Okay. At last, we're going to open for questions, and we are going to answer to all the questions you have. I imagine that, especially the clients that are already investing with us, you're going to have questions, and we're going to be happy to answer to all of them at the end. Okay. So the speakers, I think you already know, most of you already know us. I'm Patrick, I'm Klave CEO, I'm a lawyer, and Felipe, my partner, who is an economist and co-founder.
Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. Like Patrick said, all the questions that you have, you can write in the chat. I'm here responsible for this. In the end of the presentation, we will answer all the question. Have a good afternoon, and it will be a really nice night with you guys.
And for many of you that were not here before, I want to express again that we feel our thoughts are with you during this difficult time that the Midwest is going through. And if there is anything that we can help from Portugal, please let us know. Don't hesitate, and we're gonna do our best to support you anyhow. Okay. So about Klave, our company assists foreign investors, many of them Israeli, but not only. We have clients from the United States, from Brazil, Dubai, and so on. And we assist these clients with investing in Portugal remotely. More than 15 million euros was already invested through Klave. We already purchased more than 60 properties, from which we manage now more than 50. And the average yield, the gross yield the clients are doing with these properties is around 10%. It's important to highlight that this average yield is only from the rent. It doesn't count the growth of the price per square meter, which is the capital gain. And as you're going to see during this presentation, it's usually even higher than 10%. It's around 15, even 20% per year. Now, why investors are aiming at Portugal? So right now, Portugal, and not only now, in the last, let's say, 7, 8 years, right, Portugal became this, it's like we say, is in the hype of the tourists and also for people that want to live in another country. So we are hosting a lot of people from the United States, from Brazil, from Israel, and all over Europe, Russia, Ukraine, and so on. And the reasons are pretty obvious, but it's always good to remember. First of all, we have a very stable political and economic situation here in Portugal, one of the most stable countries in the world. The cost of living here is really competitive, so it's very cheap if you compare to many parts of the world, especially if you compare to the big cities like Tel Aviv, Madrid, Berlin, in Paris, also in Brazil, Rio, São Paulo, and Dubai, and so on. The quality of life here is amazing. The weather is much better than most of Europe. We have very good food. It's affordable. The lifestyle here is very calm and relaxed. So that's why many people are moving to Portugal, and the demand is growing day by day. Also, very important, we are the seventh safest country in the world, which, especially during these times, is something that people value a lot. Portugal is far from this, let's say, problematic world that we are living today. So it became like this safe haven for many, many people. Like we are Felipe and I, we are from Brazil, for instance, and we moved to Portugal a long time ago, especially because of that. And we have here in Portugal a lot of visa programs. So we have the retirement visa, the entrepreneur visa, digital nomad visa, golden visa, entrepreneur visa, and so on. So there are many ways to move to Portugal. And besides that, there are a lot of new Portuguese, like many of you that got the Portuguese citizenship recently. And all these people, of course, want to be in Portugal, want to visit, want to invest. And this is why the demand is growing day by day. But still, the prices of the properties are still competitive compared to other European capitals and also compared to Tel Aviv, New York, LA, and so on. The cost of living here, it's much cheaper than, let's say, London, which is 58% cheaper than London. And if you here replace London for any other city that I mentioned, you're going to see that Portugal is still very affordable and the prices are very good, especially in the developing areas. Okay. If we talk about the centers like Lisbon, Porto, the two major cities in Portugal, the prices will be the highest in Portugal, and it's gonna be like 7,000 per square meter. In Porto, more or less around 5,000 per square meter, you can find a nice flat. But if you go to the growing areas, the developing areas, you can still find very good opportunities, like we are doing for many of you here present. And we are finding properties around 2.5, 3,000 per square meter, and really, really close to the major cities like Porto and Lisbon in the surroundings, like 10, 20 minutes distant. However, on the other hand, while the demand is growing day by day, the supply doesn't keep up the same pace. So, and the reasons why the supply is limited is because the vertical expansion is not allowed in most of the country. So, if you compare to, let's say, Tel Aviv, because many of you here live in Tel Aviv, we have in Tel Aviv, there are many, many buildings with more than 10 stories, 20 stories. Here in Portugal, this is not common at all. So the country is short, let's say. The constructions here, they are not so big, especially in the historic centers. So this is a let's say it's a problem if you want to create houses because you don't have where to go. And also there's a shortage of lands. So if you want to build in Portugal, it's very difficult to find lands in central areas. We are doing now a few developments in central areas as well as in developing areas with many of clients that are here, present here at the masterclass. And they know it's not easy to find these lands, but there's still a few available. The bureaucracy to build is far from ideal. It's time consuming. It's not so easy, and it's not so clear most of the time. And of course, our job, and this is what we do for many clients, is to find and go through this bureaucracy so that the client doesn't have to worry about it and make sure the project will be delivered. But still, the government is trying to improve, and right now they are on the path to do it. We're going to talk about it soon, but still very bureaucratic. And to finalize, there is a lack of qualified workers for building. And this is all over the world, but Portugal is no different. If you want to build in Portugal with a good contractor, it's not easy to find. They have, usually they don't have availability for the next year. So you have to wait a long time. And of course, our job as a representative of the clients in Portugal is to go through and make sure that the whole process will be smooth for the clients. So this creates a problem, very obvious, which is the demand is much higher than the offer. And that's why Portugal needs to triple housing construction by 2029. Okay, so this is pretty much summing up the problem in one phrase. This is in one sentence. This is the conclusion. And that's why the prices will keep rising because Portugal, and this is a spoiler, but Portugal will not manage to build triple what we build today by 2029. We are far from it, and the demand will keep growing and the offer will not accompany, and this is pretty obvious. But still, the government is attracting these investors to help filling this gap, and this is what we're going to see. So the solution created by the government to increase housing supply is to support new constructions for long-term rentals by attracting private investments, like many of you here that are looking for buying something in Portugal or building or renovating something in Portugal for rentals. So basically, the government saw that the only way to solve the housing issue is to put more houses on the market. They took many years to realize that, but still, it's at the end of the day, they realized it, and that's how they did this fiscal revolution. That's why they changed many rules here in Portugal to attract investors, okay, and to also offer security for the investors. What are the key measures? First, they're going to reduce. It's actually for 2026 is already in force. They're going to reduce the rental income tax from 25 to 10%. So this is great news for all of you here that already have an apartment with us. If your apartment has a rent up to 2.3 thousand euros per month, you can benefit from the reduction, the tax reduction. Second, they're going to reduce the VAT. Before it was 23%. Now it's going to be 6% for every housing construction all over the country. Okay, this is especially important for all of you that are building with us here in Portugal. Then you have the capital gains tax exemption. Basically, if you sell your house today and you buy a new house, you are going to be exempt from the capital gains tax. Okay, so for many of you here that already have an apartment, and if you want to sell it to buy another house for renting, you don't have to pay the taxes. So this is the perfect time to do it. And at last but not least, the faster eviction process. The eviction process until now, it was very difficult and very time consuming because you had to go to court and wait until the final ruling, which could take probably years. And now they made it easier. So basically now it's an administrative process and it's 100% digital. So you don't have to wait all the physical bureaucracy, like the subpoena of the tenants and so on. So all the process is digital, and it's much easier to notify the tenants and to move the process. And at the end of the process, which instead of years, it's going to take probably weeks or months, the police can enforce the law and do the eviction. So this is going to be the idea of the government here, is to show to the landlords that the government is backing them up and it's helping them to be more safe in terms of renting the properties. Okay. So let's take a real case scenario here. And this is a recent case that we have here at Klave. The apartment price the client bought was 250,000. Okay, so the rent of this apartment is 1.3 thousand euros. Before the new law, the client would put in his pocket after the taxes 11.7 thousand per year. Okay, this is the rent minus the taxes before the law, which was 25%. With the new law, the client will put in his pocket 14,000 per year after taxes, which is right now only 10%. Okay, this is without our management fees, which is 10%. So basically, the net yield grew from 4.6% to 5.6%, which is amazing because this is basically the difference that the clients pay us for the management. So now it's like you're getting the management for free with this new law. So this is how you can see in numbers, in real numbers, the difference that it's going to make. And for many of you, you can already make the calculation there. We already did for many of the clients. And by next year, they're going to pay much less taxes for 2026 year, okay? So those are some news showing all these changes all over Portugal. So, and as you can see here, the 6 pillars of the government plans to lower rents and lower the prices. This is all that we're talking now. And so the idea is to bring more investors to build and then filling the gap between the demand and the offer. As the former Minister of Finance said, there are 2 pillars for Portugal's growth strategy. The first is economic stability, and the second is openness to investment. And of course, this is where you guys come in, because the foreign investors are really important for the growth of the country. Besides that, so until now we were talking about private investment, but there are a huge movement of public investment in the country as well, mainly from the European Bank of Financing. Okay, so what is the government doing today? So Portugal is building a high-speed rail that will go from Porto to Lisbon, Lisbon to Madrid, aiming the World Cup in 2030. So you're going to be able to travel from Porto to Lisbon in 1 hour and 15 minutes, and from Lisbon to Madrid in 3 hours. Okay. So these projects improving Portugal and Spain connectivity, it's financed by the European Investment Bank. And they're also doing the new Lisbon airport, as you can see here on this image. This is going to be the new airport, and this is the center of Lisbon. So it's a total of 3 billion euros already approved in funding to connect Portugal, especially with rails, to the rest of Europe. Okay, and you can see here, this is going to be the rail will start in Vigo in Spain, and it go down to Porto, Gaia, Aveiro, and so on until Lisbon, and then from Lisbon to Madrid. And that's why we are also investing a lot in the developing areas here and here. Okay. So as you can see, the European Union is doing a lot of efforts to connect all the major cities in Europe with rails, so that the short flights are over within a decade. So the idea here is that you can go from Lisbon to Madrid, and then from Madrid to other cities in Europe by rail. And of course, this will demand a lot of investment over the next years. So as the Prime Minister, Luis Montenegro, said recently, the infrastructure investment is key to strengthening Portugal's long-term economic competitiveness. So Portugal is not only concerned about the rent and the taxes. It's also bringing a lot of investment from European Union to make this growth more stable and even bigger for the next years. And this is only possible because we have a very much favorable credit environment. What is the scenario today? So the Euribor stabilized at around 2% per year, and the fixed mortgage rates that we're getting recently, they are around 3% per year. There was a small growth due to the war, but they are still 3.2% per year, and you can fix these interest rates for the next 2 to 5 years. And you can get up to 80% financing on the property's value. Okay, so this is important. We can do the whole process of the mortgage and, of course, buying the house, opening the bank account, and so on remotely. And this is the comparison if you see the other major markets that are investing in Portugal today: Israel, USA, and Brazil. The interest rates in Portugal is half of Israel and USA, and it's way less than Brazil. So that's why many of these investors are coming from these countries to invest in Portugal in real estate, and that's why the market is getting heated every day. So again, the real case scenario. So the same scenario as before, 250,000 apartments. So this is an Israeli couple with 50 years old. So, and the age here is important because they have 25 years to pay the mortgage, which is not the maximum. The maximum is 35 years, okay? Even a little bit like 37 years is still possible if the client has 30 years. But let's assume 50 years old, which is more or less the average. and they have 25 years to pay the mortgage. So basically, they have to pay as down payment 20% of the property, which is 50% plus taxes and fees, and he's gonna get from the rent 1.3 thousand. Okay, the 1.3 thousand after our management fees and the governmental taxes, which is now 10%, as we said, is going to be 975. Okay, so this is the net after all the costs, and the mortgage payment will be around 960. So it's pretty much breaking even here. It's not a real profit. So, but the most important is that this property is growing 50% every year. Okay, and the rents there are also growing around 10% per year because this is a developing area. But the same applies also to Porto, to Lisbon, and so on. You just need to know where to invest. If you know where to invest, you can achieve these numbers easily. So, summing up, the clients can pay the mortgage. Okay, so the mortgage will be paid by the rent, even after the management fees and taxes, and even if they only have 25 years to pay the mortgage. Okay, Felipe.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but we just had a question about it. Rony asked if we had like any age limitation for the mortgage, but you just replied that it's 75 years old.
Hey, Ronnie, my friends, how are you doing? Send my regards to Gila as well. So, Ronnie, the age limit to get a new mortgage is 65 years old, the oldest of the couple. But you have up to 75 years old to pay the mortgage. Okay, so basically, you can start the mortgage up to 65 years old, the oldest of the couple, and you have to pay the mortgage until 75. In some cases, we did recently, we managed to put 80 years old as the limit for payment. So we gained there a few more years to pay the mortgage. But the let's say the general rule is 75, but it's also possible to get 80 in some cases. So continuing, that's why places like Setúbal and Gaia, we already spoke about them a few times. That's why these places are growing 20%, because Setúbal is where the new airport will be, and Gaia is where the new high-speed train will pass through between Porto and Lisbon. And both of them, Setúbal is really close to Lisbon, Gaia is really close to Porto, and many of you are investing in these cities, and we can still find good properties there around 3,000 per square meter, even less, and they are growing 20% per year. You can see here 21% in Gaia, 20% in Setúbal, and this is only possible because the government is investing a lot of money in infrastructure, like new metro lines, new airports, new bridges to connect, new bus lines, and so on. New schools, new hospitals. There are a lot of things happening in these developing areas, and those are the areas that you can find the biggest growths in Portugal today. Like Barbara Corcoran said, don't wait to buy real estate, buy real estate and wait. She's a shark from Shark Tank, so I think you should listen to her. It's not me saying, it's Barbara Corcoran, but keeping up. So macroeconomic and growth. So all this environment created this perfect context for Portugal to grow in the next few years. And that's why Portugal is going to grow above the European Union average in 2026. This is the forecast. Portugal is growing every year steady around 2, sometimes 3% per year. In 2026, the growth will be around 2.2 or 2.3%. And it's the expectation is that it's going to continue to grow in the next few years, driven by high investment from European Union funds, as we discussed it, robust tourism, and sustained domestic consumption. So you can see that it's not only the private investment or the public investment only. It's a combination of factors that the government is doing to increase the interest of investors in Portugal, to bring their money to build, to buy and rent, to renovate. And that's how the government is planning to put more houses in the market to fill the gap between demand and offer. And as we said, this growth of these developing areas, also because of the public investment, is going to keep growing 15-20% every year as the work and the areas are invested in infrastructure. So this is how we believe is the best real estate investment in Portugal today. We have to aim where the government is investing, what is happening in the country, what are the developing areas where we can still find good opportunities with a good price, and you're going to pay like 2.5, 3,000 per square meter, and in the next 5 years until the World Cup, it's gonna be valuing like something around 5-6,000 euros per square meter. Okay, so and now we are reaching the end of the masterclass. We're gonna open for questions. I see that we already have many questions here. So why all of this moment matters? Because this is the perfect window for investment in Portugal. And we have been in Tel Aviv recently in September. We have been in Brazil and a few times as well. And we did many webinars. And every time we do these webinars, we were already predicting all this movement from the real estate. Now, with this new law and with easier eviction process, with lower rates, lower taxes for landlords and also for contractors and builders, we are pretty sure that the country will keep showing this growth year by year, and especially the developing areas will be the best kind of opportunity in the real estate markets in Portugal. Okay, so let's go to the questions and answers. Felipe, what do you have for me?
Yes. Thank you everyone to send you all the questions in the chat. The first one is from Deborah. He asked if this um, tax change it's only in Portugal or if in the other countries in Europe.
It's only Portugal. At least for now, what we know is that if you have a property in Portugal that you sell to buy in Portugal, you're gonna be exempt from the tax. And another very important remark here that I have to do, which is everything that we said in this masterclass was already announced by the government, okay? But they have 180 days, and we are now reaching the middle of this deadline to publish the law itself. Okay, so keep an eye on the newsletter because we're gonna update you guys about these changes. When the government announces the law itself. What we just told you about all these changes, this is already approved by the government, but it's very likely that with these laws, they're gonna explain everything like what Deborah asked. Thank you for the question, Deborah. Maybe they're going to open a window also for people to sell properties elsewhere and invest in Portugal. This would be great, but we have to wait to see. Okay, what we told you now in this masterclass is only what was already announced by the government itself. Okay, not the gossip, not the fake news or whatever. Now, after the law is published, then we're going to know the full text, and then we're going to update you guys on the newsletter.
Okay, great. The second question it's from David. He asked if this legal change already has happened or if this will happen only in the future.
Okay, thank you, David, for the question. So it was already approved by the government, and the most likely is that it's going to be valid already from the moment of its approval in 2026. So they said by June they expect to vote this and to pass this 100%. And with the new law, it's going to be valid from June and on. Okay, so this is the expectation. Maybe in the worst case, it's going to be valid from 2027. But right now, the information that we have is that it's going to be valid from the moment they publish the law, which is expected to be by June because it's the end of the deadline of 180 days.
Great. The next question is from Eyal Kenan. It's our client as well. He asking if about he already did the CPCV, and but all the payment of the property is not done yet. If how this is affect the price of the property because of the IVA, the deduction from IVA.
So, hi, Al, how are you doing, my friends? So, yeah, so in your case, it doesn't change anything. What was made because the constructor, basically the 6%, the new VAT for contractors and builders, it's going to apply from the moment they start building. So these guys that you bought the apartment from, they are already building the building, so they don't have the exemption in their cases. So it's not gonna affect anything. It's gonna keep the same price. But the good news is when the apartment is ready and you decide to sell it or to rent it, you're gonna have the deduction of the taxes. If you sell it to buy another apartment, you don't have to pay the capital gain. And if you the capital gain tax, and if you rent it, you only pay 10% tax.
Right. The next is from Mateus. He asking if all the purchase process and after the management, if we can do this 100% remote, or if he needed to come to Portugal to sign something, what is the process?
Thank you, Mateus. So no, you don't have to come. All the process is remote. Okay. If you want to come, even better, you can take some wine in the Douro River and enjoy the city. Try to come during the summer. It's even better. But yeah, it's 100% remote. You don't have to come. It's not mandatory. Actually, most of our clients never actually saw the properties in person. So you can already see how they trust us. We know it's a big decision to buy an apartment in another country, and that's how we build our name and our trust. So the clients, they buy the process remotely, they buy the property remotely, and most of them leave the properties for us to manage, and they never actually had to come here. All the process is remote.
Great. Barbara asked you to if you can highlight the main points from the law change because she joined a little bit late the webinar.
Okay.
What's the main point of the law that will change?
Okay. Hi, Barbara. Thank you for the question. So the key, I'm gonna go back to I think it's even easier if we go back a little bit, and then you can also see it. But the key changes are the rental income tax reduced from 25 to 10%. Okay. To build, it's gonna be there's gonna be a VAT reduction from 23% to 6% to build houses. The capital gains tax exemption, meaning that if you want to sell your property to buy another property for renting, you don't have to pay the capital gains tax. Let's give you a real example. We have now a client that is also considering this. His property is worth around 300K. Okay, if he sells this property and he's gonna have his profit, and he buys another house for renting for 200K, he doesn't have to pay the capital gains tax. So he's gonna have his profit of from the house that he sold for 300 to the new house 100K, but also the profit from the moment he bought the first house to the moment he sold the first house, and he doesn't have to pay capital gains in this case because he bought another house to rent, and still he's gonna have 100K in his pocket, free of taxes. So this is major if you already have an apartment in Portugal, or if these laws are starting now. So basically, you can buy now, aiming to the next 5 years, selling without the capital gains tax, and then buying another 2 properties to rent, as an example. And the last is the faster eviction process. So it's going to be easier now to evict tenants that are not paying the rents. Okay, instead of years, it's going to take weeks or months.
Okay, Patrick, about the tax exception, we have two more questions about this subject. One from Ailet, she asking about the timeline, if we have timeline to reinvest the money, and from Jonathan, if it's only for the main house or for the secondary house as well.
Okay. Hi, Ayelet. How are you doing, dear? Ayelet and Alon, our big friends and clients. So the tax exemption, Ayelet, will be for 2 years. So from the moment you sell the house, you have 2 years to buy another house to reinvest the money. Okay. So basically, from the moment you sell the house, you're gonna have to pay the taxes if you don't buy it in the same year, right? Because on the next year you pay the taxes, you're gonna pay it. But when you buy the second house, the government will reimburse the capital gain that you paid in the beginning. So, or they're gonna give it to you as a credit. So this is not clear yet. They're gonna publish with the law, but you have 2 years to use the exemption if you want to sell a house and buy another house. Okay. And the second question from Jonathan, right?
Yeah,
Jonathan,
Jonathan. Yeah.
Yoni, how are you doing, Yoni? Is the capital gain exemption valid for the main house? No, also for the secondary house. Actually, it's mainly for the secondary, because the idea of the government is to give you the capital gain exempt for renting. Okay, and there is already a tax exemption for main house, for the primary house. This is already valid, and this is old. This is not new. What is new is they're also applying the capital gain exempt for secondary housing. So basically, what was already happening with the primary housing, like if you have a house in Portugal that you live, you sell it and then buy another house to live, you can also get an exemption. What they did now is this same rule will apply to secondary housing for rent. The only condition is that you are renting the house. You have to rent the house for the long term. You cannot do Airbnb, for instance. You have to do long-term renting. Okay.
Right. But a question from Yakov. He asking about where he can see the projects that we have.
Hi, Yakov. How are you doing? So I think the best solution is to set up a meeting with us, Yakov, and you can also check in our website, klave.pt, and we can send it to you if you don't find it, but klave.pt. And I'm going to write in the group, so all of you in the chat, so all of you can see it. And in the website, you can see our past projects, and we can set up a meeting also to show you the numbers and explain everything. Okay.
Great.
I see one.
Yeah.
Just one question that we lost here in the middle. Philippe is asking, not this Philippe, of course, because he knows, but another Philippe is asking, what is the minimum amount required to start investing in Portugal? So if you take a mortgage around 70 to 80%, considering the down payment, our fees, and the taxes, you must have something around minimum 50K. Okay, minimum to start investing in Portugal. So you can find a house between 180 to 200,000, and this house will give you a return of around 6-7% gross yield. This is more or less the minimum. Now, the next question, Felipe.
Yeah, it's from Yair about the timeline for if this tax, the 10%, it's only for long-term renting, and if it is a timeline, like a time limit to get this 10%.
Hi, Yair. Also a great friend and client. How are you doing? Yair and Shaked. So the 10% tax for renting is for long term, minimum 1 year. okay? You cannot do Airbnb. You're not going to get any exemption on Airbnb, also because Airbnb already pays less taxes. Now, the first year, so what the government approved is that until 2030, this will be the rule. Now, if they're going to renew it after from 2030, we're not sure. What we know for sure that if they already passed the law, now it's going to be valid from now to 2030. In 2030, probably another prime minister or the same prime minister will have to analyze to see if they're going to renew the benefit or not. Okay.
Okay. We just jump one question here from Abraham about when we sell the real estate, if we don't have any tax to pay on the profit. And what is this tax?
So today there is the cap. Thank you for the question, Abraham. So today there is the tax, the capital gain tax. Okay, Abraham. But with the new law, if you sell the real estate and buy another one for renting, you don't have to pay the capital gain tax. Okay, this is the biggest change. Now, only a person or a company. No, this is for person or company. And I'm glad that you mentioned the company, because also for a company, and I see some clients here that have companies, you're going to pay only 50% of the rental tax if you have a company. Okay. So this is also something really good for clients that owns a company. And but the capital gain, the tax, the profit tax, as you said, you can be exempt if you sell the property and buy another one in 2 years for renting in Portugal.
Yeah, he asked as well if this have a limit of the houses, if we can do it for one or two or 5, 6, 10.
For now, we don't know about any limit. Okay, they didn't mention any limit. Now, when they publish the law officially, which should happen by June, these details will be published as well. But for now, they didn't mention any limit. Okay, and I saw also here from Barbara, what happened if I buy before selling? Do I still need paying capital again? So this is also interesting, Barbara. They said, and this is something that, again, it's going to be official by June, but what they explained already is that you can buy and then you have a time to sell the property, you know? So basically, let's say if I buy my property, I have one property that I live or that I rent, and then I buy another one and sell the one that I use it to rent for other people. So you can also ask the exemption, okay? And from what we read, you have the same 2 years, the 2 years between selling and buying, and or buying or selling. You also have the tax exemption if you buy before and sell later, okay?
And Barbara asked as well about the benefits for the short-term rental, if this is only for the long term or if you have some benefits for short term as well.
So, Barbara, the idea of the government is to encourage long term. They don't want, there are already many benefits for short term, like they only pay 6% VAT, and the income tax is only 30% of the income. So you don't have to pay over 100% of the income. You pay only over 30%. So basically, no, there are no new benefits for the short term, because the short term already has other benefits, and they wanted to create a better environment for long term. Okay.
Patrick, we have more. I think this is. I received one more question, but from the WhatsApp. Give me 2 minutes. Um, it's for. um,
Shahar,
um,
Shahar,
yeah.
Shahar liked my new haircut. Thank you, Shahar. You're so kind. I'm not sure if
Yeah,
he's kidding or if he's serious, but thank you anyway.
yeah. It's we already answered this question. It's I think it's all question that they
Okay.
send you, we already reply. Only to send to talk with everyone now. Tomorrow we will send a email with the presentation. We are recording the webinar. We will send a video. We will send a link from the our YouTube for you to watching later. And feel free to send us the email, more question and everything. And thank you everyone to be with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. So good to see so many of you. And we are looking forward to visit you again in Tel Aviv and hopefully in better days. Okay, guys. Thank you. If you need anything from us, please let us know. Take care and looking forward to see you soon. Bye bye.
Yeah, Patrick, sorry.
Yeah.
Just if you anyone you'd like directly meet with us, reply the email that we can like book a meeting this week or the next week for all question and doubts.
Yeah, this is really important. So we are available, guys. Just reply to the email, like Felipe said. We are gonna set up a meeting. We can explain what we do. You can tell us what is your case, what is your goal, and we can work together. Okay. And for the clients who already have apartments and houses with us or constructions, if you have any questions as well, you know where to find us. So let's keep in touch. Okay. Thank you very much and see you soon. Bye bye.
Cheers, my friend. Bye bye, guys.